Today is Friday the 24th of February 2017. It's 1427 hours Central European Time. Today I want to address briefly the situation concerning my football club, First Vienna Football Club 1894. As I've explained countless times in the past, over these 4 years in particular that I've been targeted for utter torture, the club likewise was severely tortured and ridiculed. In the decades prior to that, the club was deliberately shoved into the position and kept into the position financially and so on that it wound up with. If you seek the information over the motivation for that, please go ask the filth of the Abwehrmacht and their Dunstkreis. They'll be able to tell you all about that. Generally, I do want to point out that when it comes to especially the Adelspack Dunstkreis of the Abwehrmacht, all things Viennese, and I don't mean related to that little football club, but I mean the city of Vienna. Vienna as a whole is treated with a whole lot of contempt and hatred and has been for the longest time. These are not people from Vienna, all right? I want to make this very clear. In the local former Austria area, the Faex Mundi are not fond of Vienna and they are not in Vienna and whatnot. And I mean, of course, you'll have some Abwehrmacht be in Vienna and so on and so forth, but I mean, those who, at least in theory, are commanding the Abwehrmacht, they are not in Vienna and they are not fond in Vienna. Vienna, the city, has always been treated as a hellhole, and I want to point out something about this club. Now, in the news, they drag the club into the news because of the financial situation. It says here, I'm a little lost over how to translate Weiterwurzeln into English. Basically, they're saying that on March 1st there'll be an assembly at the club and the future will be decided on whether they'll just shut down their activities total or whatnot and so on and so forth. I want to point out that everything, anything and everything that happens to this club, that Faex Mundi sees to it that happens to this club, will not change anything about the club being the club and this date being valid. Okay? They might try to destroy this club so that it is not so old, just because they know that or think that I'd be tortured that way. I just want to explain that I do want to point out that I'll be the honorary, more or less, president of that club. I do want to point this out. They want to coerce Vienna maybe into joining with another club and or reconstituting themselves as a club under a different name or a different date or whatever. It will always be First Vienna Football Club 1894. Nothing about that will ever change. Even if Faex Mundi succeed to keep the club from actually performing for a brief period in whichever league, not just its current league, but even any significantly lower league, that will not change anything about 1894. That will not be considered interrupted just because Faex Mundi drag them into the conditions that they're being dragged in. Okay? There is articles such as this here, you know, tons of shit about the club. I also want to point out that whoever might have the new owners and or new sponsors and or whatnot for this club due to Faex Mundi's doing, all of that will be done away with, all of that will be repaired and so on and so forth, and none of that will have any lasting damaging effect on the club. I will completely and utterly reinstitute this club upon the liberation of mankind as its president. I do want to point this out. I do want to show you that currently, the way things are going, this is the current season being played. These are the previous seasons. I don't want to explain you the system again. These are all the clubs in Freiland. This is all the clubs in Domain Mid. And currently, the club would actually wind up in the 4th league of the Freiland league system. That is only because they actually have a number here and are currently performing in this league. If they stop playing because they go broke, say, this number would be significantly higher. They would plummet down into the league, and if they relegate voluntarily to a significantly lower league, this number or that for the next season, 17-18, would be so high that they would certainly not win the 4th league, and so on and so forth. I want to point out that that club will start no matter which league it will be. I mean, it will be no lower than the 5th league. I do want to point this out. Matter of fact, mathematically, it's a little hard to get it lower than 5th league. I want to be very specific about that. But it is not altogether impossible. If they mess down particular lines, they might get this system, which I utilize to weave together all the clubs of all the predecessor nations of Freiland into the league system of Freiland. They just target this football club. And I want to point out here, and I want to make clear that I don't care what they make this club suffer. It will always remain First Vienna Football Club 1894, and I will repair that club into being First Vienna Football Club 1894. Nothing about the club will change, and nothing about the date will change. It will not count as interrupted, and thus not really since 1894. If they go and refound some funny club under that name, it will not count as no longer existing if they actually allow it to go completely broke and make poof and so on and so forth. None of that is going to happen. This club will simply be on hiatus forced by Faex Mundi, but that will not affect it being considered an ongoing consistent club since 1894. I want to make this very, 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 very clear. Single purpose of this little video. A little off topic, and then again not, because all of these ongoings in this club, as I've explained in some previous videos here and there, are done by Faex Mundi, and I just want to explain you, and I also want to make you people who are not from hereabouts understand that Vienna as a whole is not held in high, and I don't mean the club Vienna, I mean the city Vienna. Vienna as a whole is not held in high esteem by the fuckers of Faex Mundi hereabouts, and never has been. Decades and decades and decades back, Vienna always was considered, you know, where the proles live, and so on and so forth. I do want to make this very clear, just so people know, and that I am on record explaining that nothing can happen. There is nothing that they can do to prevent this club playing in a Freiland league under First Vienna Football Club 1894. Namely, that same that it is. Okay, I want to make this very clear. And to verify the date here, I'm going to take you to the front page of the Standard. This is what's currently in the news. Some lady minister of former Austria, completely delusional. None of these people actually have jobs. None of these are valid politicians or whatnot. They will all be no longer in any kind of function whatsoever. They're actually completely ridiculing themselves. Austria hasn't existed in years now. These people are puppets for delusions and nothing else. None of these people have any actual jobs. But this is what's in the news, just to verify that today actually is today. Here you have it, Friday, 24th February 2017, 1434. And that is this video. Thank you.